Wednesday, November 9th, and this is your coffee break on the HAN Network. I'm Kate Chaplinsky, and coming off of our live election night coverage on the HAN Network, it was a long night, but we do have updates for you today on some of those Connecticut General Assembly races, as well as how our towns voted in the presidential election and some more local news. Frank Granito joins us later with a Nutmeg Sports update and a look at the forecast. Donald Ang has a look back on this day in history, but first, let me welcome back my election night co-host, Josh Fisher. Josh, it was a long night.
Kate, it was a long night, and we woke up with knowing who our new president is going to be.
Right. So President-elect Donald Trump, Josh, he didn't win Connecticut's electoral votes last night, but he did win and lose in some surprising places around southwestern Connecticut. So we're going to go through some of those right now. We do have a map. Connecticut's two most Republican towns, Josh, New Canaan and Darien, went with Clinton. A lot of other Fairfield County towns went Clinton as well, despite voting Republicans down ballot. Any surprises for you here, Josh?
Oh, certainly. I mean, I can't remember the last time that New Canaan or Darien went Republican, or Greenwich, for that matter. Greenwich, of course, a longtime home of the Bush family. Prescott Bush, longtime U.S. Senator from here, and H.W. Bush, and grew up in Greenwich. Also, and New Canaan and Darien, because we saw in those towns too. Well, they voted for Clinton for the president. They did pick generally John Shaben for the Republican who lost to Himes in Congress, and they tended to vote Republican for the other down ballot races. So it really was a rebuke of what the Republicans put up, which kind of, and this is what Connecticut's been doing for years. It's been bucking the national trend. Right. We've been seeing that happen really since 2010.
So strong support for Trump in the Valley, Monroe, Shelton, a lot of those Valley towns, but a lot of it was really close. I mean, Milford's absentee ballots is what put Clinton over the edge. It looked for a while as if Milford would also go to Donald Trump. So interesting there. Newtown also extremely close.
Yeah. The working class towns tended to go for Trump, like we saw across the nation, and the wealthier towns tended to go for Clinton.
Wealthier towns that are also more Republican, more
typically what we're used to. But I think we're seeing, along with seeing the shift in how American politic landscape is, we're seeing a shift in the Connecticut political landscape.
That's right. And Josh, we do have our ticker going with our Connecticut General Assembly races. Republicans did make some big gains in the General Assembly Tuesday, leading to a likely 18-18 tie in the State House. And overall, Josh, Republicans picked up 3 seats in the State Senate and 8 seats in the House.
Right. So, which is big. And now it's 18-18 in the State Senate. The Republicans needed 12 seats to flip the House. They needed 4 seats to flip the Senate. They got 3 in the Senate. Nancy Wyman, the Lieutenant Governor, who is a Democrat, would be the tying vote. So the Democrats barely hold on there, and they made things a lot closer in the House, but they're still a little bit short of an advantage there. But still, it's a big movement. And like we were saying yesterday, when we assumed, like most of America assumed, that Hillary Clinton was going to be elected president, that could shake up things in Connecticut. We're not going to see that happen now. Jim Himes has no shot at getting a job in Donald Trump's cabinet, and neither does Dan Malloy or Elizabeth Esty or any of the others, or Dick Blumenthal or Chris Murphy, which could have changed things around here.
For Connecticut Republicans,
open some stuff, and also open some stuff up for some other Democrats. So, and of course, the conventional wisdom too is if Hillary had been elected president, then it'd be good for the Republicans 2 years from now, because you'd see a lot of backlash votes for her when we have our gubernatorial races and other state senate races. So it'll be interesting to see how the Trump presidency goes and how that affects our local races here in 2 years, because we have now Dan Malloy, a lot of people saying there's a good chance that he was going to go to Washington with Hillary. And so there'd be a different Democrat running for the governor's race. Dan Malloy has a big decision to make now, too, because one of his only choices really is to run for re-election as governor if he wants to still be involved in statewide politics.
All right, well, let's take a look, Josh, at some of the State House and State Senate races in southwestern Connecticut that we were following most closely. We're going to start with the second State House of Representatives seat. That's Reading, Bethel, and Danbury. A close race there, but Republican Will Duff pulling ahead of Raghib Ali Brennan. That seat was vacated by Dan Carter, who unsuccessfully ran against Richard Blumenthal in the U.S. Senate. In the
111th district, that's up in Ridgefield, Republican incumbent John Fry beat newcomer challenger Joe Dowdle.
All right. And in the 113th, Jason Perillo, the incumbent, getting 73% of the vote there.
In the 117th district, that's Orange, Milford, and West Haven, Republican Chris Ferraro, the incumbent, was able to hold off
Charles
Ferraro was able to hold off Sean Ronan, the Democrat.
All right, 118th in Milford, another incumbent doing well. Democrat this time, Kim Rose, beating out her opponent.
The 119th, which is Milford and Orange, Republican Pat Stanetsky the incumbent, won and beat Ben Gettinger, the Democratic challenger.
All right, the 120th of Stratford, Republican Laura Hoydick, also the incumbent there, winning her seat back.
In the 122nd district, that's Stratford, Shelton, and Trumbull, it was Republican Ben McGordy beating Green Party challenger Angela Caponera.
All right, the 123rd of Trumbull, Republican Dave Retigliano, also the incumbent, beating out his Democratic challenger.
The 125th, which is New Canaan and Wilton, Republican Tom O'Day, the incumbent, was reelected, beating Green Party challenger Hector Lopez.
All right, the 134th, that's Fairfield and Trumbull, Laura Devlin keeping her seat against Democrat Fred Garrity.
In the 135th, Easton, Reading, and Newtown, this is John Shaban's old seat. Republican Adam Dunsby, the first selectman of Easton, beat Democrat Bonnie Troy, and something we're going to talk about tomorrow or later today on CT Pulse is Adam Dunsby is going to also keep that job as first selectman and serve up in Hartford.
All right. The 141st, Darien and Norwalk. Terry Wood winning that seat against Randy Klein, who's a well-known Democrat in that area, but she beat him pretty handily.
Yes, she did. And the 142nd, which is New Canaan and part of Norwalk, Republican Fred Wilms, the incumbent, was reelected over Working Families Party nominee Anna Dulip.
Now, this one's interesting. The 151st in Greenwich, Republican Fred Camillo won it, but it ended up being a very tight race. Camillo with 5,650 votes, according to the Greenwich Time, versus his opponent, Dita Bargava, with 4,456. So it was kind of a close race for a long time. Republican state representative there. So moving on to state Senate. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, just say that was the only state rep race in Greenwich that was opposed. The other two Greenwich state reps were unopposed. So interesting how Representative Camillo had to fight that one out, but he'll be returning up to Hartford. So now moving to the state Senate, we're going to start with the 14th district that covers Milford, Orange, West Haven, and Woodbridge. Democrat Gail Schlossberg, the incumbent, was reelected over Republican challenger Pat Libero.
All right, 21st, Stratford, Shelton, Monroe, and Seymour, Republican Kevin Kelly keeping his seat against challenger Prez Palmer.
In the 22nd district, which is Bridgeport, Trumbull, and Monroe, Democrat Marilyn Moore, the incumbent, was reelected over the Trumbull finance chairman, Elaine Hammers.
All right, 23rd, Bridgeport, Stratford, Democrat Ed Gomes, the incumbent, beating out Republican Mike Garrett.
In the 24th State Senate District, which is Danbury, Bethel, New Fairfield, and Sherman, it was Republican Michael McLaughlin, the incumbent and deputy minority leader up in Hartford, was reelected over Democratic challenger Kenneth Gucker.
All right, the 25th, Darien and Norwalk, Democrat Bob Duff, who is the incumbent seeking his sixth term, also the Senate Majority Leader, keeping his seat against Republican Greg Ellers.
In the 26th, which is Westport, Wilton, Ridgefield, Reading, Bethel, New Canaan, Weston, and Easton, Republican Tony Boucher of Wilton, the incumbent, was reelected, second time facing Democratic challenger Carolyn Curry.
All right, in the 28th, that's Easton, Fairfield, Newtown, Weston, and Westport. Tony Wong holding on to his seat there. I remember when we first got some initial returns last night, Josh, it was so much closer, but then as the other towns came in as part of that district, Tony won.
Yeah, Tony held on. And then in the 36th, which is Greenwich, Stratford, and New Canaan, Scott France was reelected over Democratic challenger John Blankley.
Now, we had a pretty tight judge of probate race, Josh, for the 45th district, Ridgefield, Reading, Newtown, Bethel. Now, these were not all the districts, but some of the numbers we had initially showed that the Democrat, who was a Ridgefield resident, Sharon Dornfeld, with 13,256, but Daniel O'Grady with 14,985. The Danbury News Time has called it for O'Grady, but interesting race there, very close.
Yeah, and that was a kind of a big one to see how the down ballot, how it worked. For that, judge of probate 2 is all the way at the bottom, the only contested judge of probate race this year because it was a special election. But Ridgefield was unable to carry it for their hometown candidate, Sharon Wicks Dornfeld.
Right. And of course, as we mentioned before, U.S. Senate Richard Blumenthal easily beating his opponent Dan Carter.
Yes.
And in U.S. Congress, all the Republicans getting reelected there.
Democrats.
Whoa, yeah, that would have been different.
Yeah, now it's like this is now the 10-year anniversary of the last time a Republican won a major office in Connecticut. That was when Chris Shays was reelected for the last time to Congress, and when Jody Rell was elected governor. That happened back in 2006. So it's now been 10 years, a 10-year drought for Connecticut's Republican Party.
All right. Well, Josh, we're going to be breaking down these results and these numbers a lot more on CT Pulse at 12:30.
Yes, we will. Yeah, it'll be fun. We're going to hang out. We'll break everything down. Doug Smith will also come in and bring some levity into the situation.
We could all use that.
So we'll take a closer look at some of the results that we saw today, and then maybe get some rest at some point later today.
Well, Frank Granito feels left out over there. He did a great job last night. He was at Himes headquarters. Frank, do you have a good time?
I had a great time. A lot of fun night lighting as a political correspondent. But first of all, thank you to both of you. You guys did a tremendous job last night. Another successful election night coverage. But let's take a look at some of the weather now throughout Fairfield County. We will see mostly cloudy skies today. A brief shower or two passing through the county this morning. There's a high of 60 degrees expected for this afternoon, and showers will continue into the late evening. Mostly clear overnight and temperatures dropping all the way down into the mid-30s before Thursday morning. Plenty of sunshine on Thursday and temperatures in the mid to high 50s. There will be a light breeze and some afternoon clouds, but we can expect for clear skies tomorrow night with temperatures dropping down all the way to 42. And Friday should help make fall great again with plenty of sunshine all day and comfortable temperatures in the low 60s. There'll be some high winds earlier in the day, but those should die down by Friday evening when 6 FCX football games will get underway, including our game of the week between Greenwich and Ridgefield from Tiger Hollow. That's going to do it for this weather update. Let's go back over to Kate and Josh.
Really, Frank? All right. Well, we are going to step out for a break. When we come back, we have some non-election related news. We also have a Nutmeg Sports update, a look back on this day in history, so be sure to come back right after this.
If you're watching this broadcast, you're not alone. The HAN network is available for 200,000 Connecticut cable customers on the Frontier Network, and we've also reached 1.7 million viewers on our free live streaming sports, news, and entertainment broadcasts. To reach our rapidly growing audience, contact Advertising Director Jessica Murrin at 203-273-7312 or email jessica@han.network. If you're watching this broadcast, you're not alone. The HAN network is available for 200,000 Connecticut cable customers on the Frontier Network, and we've also reached 1.7 million viewers on our free live streaming sports, news, and entertainment broadcasts. To reach our rapidly growing audience, contact Advertising Director Jessica Murrin at 203-273-7312 or email jessica@han.network. If you're watching this broadcast, you're not alone. The HAN network is available for 200,000 Connecticut cable customers on the Frontier Network, and we've also reached 1.7.
Have a sports injury or a slip and fall that needs immediate care? Coastal Ortho Express Urgent Care gives you direct access to an orthopedic specialist fast, without an appointment. Biking, golf, tennis, soccer, whatever the sports injury is, sprain or fracture, Coastal Ortho Express can help. Coastal Ortho Express Urgent Care, open Monday through Saturday, now in 2 locations. The iPark building at 761 Main Avenue in Norwalk and 36 Old Kings Highway South in Darien. Or go to coastalorthoexpress.com, like them on Facebook.
Hi, this is Leo Carl from Carl Chevrolet in New Canaan. And you've heard me talk about the Chevy Volt for years. The new model gets 53 miles on EV charge daily, plus 420-mile full range. But don't take my word for it. You need to come in and test drive the Volt yourself. Visit us at 261 Elm Street in New Canaan or online at carldirect.com.
I really wanted something that felt like a home. Coming from a big house, I wanted the feel of a home as opposed to a condo. New Canaan is 6 minutes down the road. New Canaan's a beautiful little town to walk around. I work in Westport. My commute is 20 minutes. It's close to Westchester where my family is, so the location is ideal. There is no other townhome that compares in the area. This is where I want to be.
On time, done right, safe and reliable. MrHandymanCT.com.
Let our satisfied customers tell it.
I have called Mr. Handyman for every reason, every occasion, every broken item, every leak. They have bailed me out on many occasions, and I would recommend them to anyone.
For any project, large or small.
MrHandymanCD.com.
Washington Prime, now open on Main Street in Georgetown. Come enjoy our relaxed setting, excellent service, award-winning nightly happy hours, and feast on our creative new American cuisine. Connecticut Magazine's winner for Best Steak, Washington Prime of Georgetown.
Welcome back to this Wednesday, November 9th edition of your Coffee Break on the HAN Network. I'm Kate Chaplinsky, and to take a turn from some of last night's election night coverage, we're going to throw it over to Donna Lang to take a look back on this day in history. Don, you could say that history was made last night, but...
You know, it really was, but you know what? Then again, it's made every day, actually.
That's true.
This is the way it goes today. We're going with some legacies today, starting in 1780. The Battle of Fish Dam Ford. Not a very well-known battle, but it did take place just outside Charleston, South Carolina, and the reason why I bring it up is because the Patriot Militia was commanded by Brigadier General Thomas Sumter. Now, if you're a college football fan, the British actually gave Sumter the nickname of the Carolina Gamecock because of his fighting style. Sumter, by the way, lived 52 more years after the battle, long enough to serve in the War of 1812, and also long enough to see the construction of the Charleston Harbor Fort named after him. Just one of the many, many footnotes that connect the Revolution and the Civil War. Speaking of the Civil War, we're going to go to 1862. General Ambrose Burnside assumes command of the Army of the Potomac. One of the most incompetent generals in American history, his legacy includes sending waves of soldiers across a narrow bridge under heavy fire at Antietam, despite the fact that the stream under the bridge was only mid-thigh deep. He also decided by drawing lots which troops would attack in the so-called Battle of the Crater at Cold Harbor, resulting in massive losses as the untrained troops charged into the crater, then couldn't climb back out the steep sides. On the other hand, his distinctive facial hair evolved into what we now call sideburns. 1906. President Theodore Roosevelt, the first sitting president to make an official visit to another country. He did so to inspect progress at the Panama Canal. France had given up on building a canal through Central America after 13 years and countless lost lives. The American effort would pay off in a completed canal 8 years later in 1914. Finally, now we go to 1989 for this.
The checkpoint, the police are making no attempt to stop people. The gates have been thrown open and thousands of people are pouring over to take a look at a West. In some cases, their first look, and the elation is enormous. But these were not people abandoning their country. Most were simply heading for the night out of their lives. They discovered what was happening by watching West German television, and they'd come running, as they were, to join the party. Some were taking the opportunity to leave for good, with baggage and families, still unconvinced even by this dramatic gesture that real change is happening in East Germany. But they were the exceptions.
That was East Germany celebrating as the checkpoints in the Berlin Wall were opened for the first time in a generation. Officially called the Anti-Fascist Protective Wall, West Berliners called it the Wall of Shame. More than anything else, the Berlin Wall symbolized the Iron Curtain between the West and the Soviet bloc. That is your look back in history for today, November 9th, and I'm Donald Ng.
All right, thanks so much, Don. Back to local news. Stamford police are asking for the public's help in identifying two men caught on video breaking into an East Side laundromat to steal an ATM. Check it out. Security footage from Washworks at 953 East Main Street shows two men rocking the machine back and forth until the bolts pop out of the concrete. Police said that ATM had about $3,000 inside. The overnight burglary took place about 2 weeks ago on October 23rd. But let's throw it back over to Frank Granito for a Nutmeg Sports Update. Frank.
Thank you, Kate. And let's take a look at the opening round of the boys soccer tournament from yesterday afternoon. We had 10 FCIAC teams in action featuring 3 games where the conference opponents were faced off against each other. And in a rematch of an FCIAC quarterfinal game from 2 weeks ago, Danbury was able to beat Fairfield Ludlow for the second straight time by a score of 3-1. The Hatters will now play number 6 Hall in the second round. Trumbull and Norwalk was another one of our all-FCIAC matchups yesterday. The FCIAC co-champion Trumbull Eagles defeated the Bears 1-0, setting up a second-round matchup against number 14 Fairfield Ward, who edged out East Hartford in the Mustangs' opening matchup. The other co-champion of the FCIAC, the Greenwich Cardinals, squared off against the West Hill Vikings from Cardinal Stadium yesterday. Greenwich cruised to the second round on a 3-1 victory. The Cardinals will play at home again on Thursday against Newtown. The lone loss in the FCIAC yesterday came from the Stamford Black Knights. They fell at the hands of Glastonbury by a score of 1-0. Staples was able to pull off an upset victory with a win over number 12 South Windsor. They will now play at number 5 New Milford tomorrow afternoon. And our own Steve Buno was at Darien High School yesterday when the number 13 Blue Wave welcomed number 20 Conard in their first round matchup. The Wave got goals from Peter Case, Blake Somney, and Pablo Martinez en route to a 3-1 victory. Here are some of the highlights from yesterday's game.
Wait! Away! Go, away!
So congratulations to the Blue Wave on the 3-1 victory. They will now travel to Farmington for their second round matchup tomorrow evening at 6 o'clock. For more information on the boys soccer tournament and a look at the opening round of the CIAC field hockey tournament, tune into Nutmeg Sports this afternoon with myself and Kevin Coleman at 2 o'clock. That's going to do it for this Nutmeg Sports update. Let's go back over to Kate.
Thanks so much, Frank. We're going to step out for a break, and when we come back, some more Connecticut news coming up on your coffee break after this.
1, 2, 3, Abby! You know! I want to find out how good I am. Yes, sir! If you relax, you get blown out. Let's get it done! Let's get it done!
What can you take advantage of right now?
Again, come on! I can push myself way beyond what you think. Pressure technique. Bring it back.
The leaves are changing, water temps dropping, and the sun is setting a little earlier each day. But there's still a lot of great boating, fishing, and coast time left before we see the first snow. And above all, remember, it's always summer at the Dock Shop. With loads of new fishing tackle and accessories, clothing, jewelry, and home decor, the Dock Shop is just what you need when you start to feel that New England autumn chill. Boater, beach bum, fisherman, or simply love the New England coast, this is a unique place to shop. The Dock Shop, 51 Tokenique Road, Darien, 609 Riverside Avenue, Westport, dockshop.com.
As you're getting back to your regular schedules, we're excited to get back to doing what we do best, offering you the freshest seasonal fare and all the ingredients for a healthy start to school. So shop Walter Stewart's for everything fresh, from A, apples to Z, zucchini, and from cotton candy grapes to back to nature all-natural snack bags. We save you time by stocking all of your favorite back-to-school essentials under one roof. Walter Stewart's Market, 229 Elm Street, or shop online at stewartsmarket.com.
I'm Frank Granito.
And I'm Donald Ing for the HAN Network.
Tune in to Nutmeg Sports Monday through Thursday, where we bring you all the top stories from Connecticut sports.
From highlights to player interviews and expert analysis, no one gets you closer to Connecticut's games than Nutmeg Sports.
Nutmeg Sports, now Monday through Thursday at 2 p.m. on the HAN Network.
Welcome back to this Wednesday edition of your Coffee Break on the HAN Network. I'm Kate Chaplinsky. Getting back to Connecticut news today, Ansonia police are asking for the public's help in locating a 16-year-old girl who left a note threatening to harm herself before running away from home. Maria Brianna Romero is described as 5 feet 3 inches tall and 130 pounds with brown eyes and hair. Anyone with information about her whereabouts is asked to call Ansonia police at 203-735-1885. And the Fairfield Citizen reports that one man is in custody and police are looking for his female accomplice in connection with an attempted burglary at an Autumn Ridge Road Homes garage on November 5th. Joseph Signor, 54 years old, of Seaview Avenue in Norwalk, was charged with conspiracy to commit third-degree burglary. Police allege that Signor was behind the wheel of a tan Saturn on Saturday afternoon and was driving a woman who was spotted inside a garage. She initially told a neighbor she had permission to be there to collect cans and bottles, and when she tried to walk away, that witness tried to stop her. At that point, she said she displayed a hunting knife and got into the passenger seat of that waiting Saturn. Officers traced the car to Signor's through the car's license plate. Police said that Signor, who had an extensive criminal history, was cooperative and his car was seized. He was released on a promise to appear in court on November 17th. And a 17-year-old Darien resident was referred to juvenile court for providing alcohol to minors during a party back on October 29th. Police responded to numerous complaints of a large underage drinking party on Mansfield Avenue just after 11 at night. Officers observed a large number of youths walking from a Mansfield home, and about 20 to 30 young people standing around in the area fled as police approached. Beer cans and liquor bottles were strewn about outside the home, and police met with an adult who said he was called to the scene by the party's 17-year-old host to help get things under control. Inside the home, police saw that holes had been punched in the living room sheetrock and the furniture had been damaged as well. More empty alcohol containers were found throughout the house on multiple floors, and the floor was said to be sticky due to spilled drinks. Police said 50 to 75 young people were in the patio area for that party, while another 10 were found inside. And in Weston, the Nature Conservancy will hold its annual controlled deer hunt at Devil's Den Preserve. The purpose of that controlled hunt, which has been held each fall since 2001, is to improve and maintain forest health by reducing the deer population. In recent decades, the high density of deer in southwestern Connecticut and associate overbrowsing have caused ecological damage in the region's forests. That hunt will take place on weekdays only, and there will be signs posted when it is in progress. And the Ridgefield Fire Department's new number 2 engine, a 2016 rescue pumper, is equipped to handle the terrain and lack of cell service in the town's Ridgebury area. Equipped with a 750-gallon water tank, a 10-gallon Class A foam tank, and 20-gallon Class B foam tank, the new apparatus pump panel is mostly electrically operated. Fire Chief Kevin Tappy said that rescue pumper will be located in the department's Ridgebury station and is equipped to handle the terrain better. He said even in Ridgebury, where there is no Verizon signal, it has built-in cell phone extenders in the new engine in order to reach hard-to-access cell locations. You can get more on that new purchase at theridgefieldpress.com. And in other Ridgefield news, Marty Heiser, a member of Ridgefield's Board of Finance, celebrated the election of Donald Trump last night at the president-elect's headquarters in Midtown Manhattan. As you can see in this photo here, him with Mike Pence. He said Ridgefield was in the house at the Trump election celebration. Newly re-elected State Representative John Fry and Brett West also enjoyed the historic event, according to Heiser. And finally, to add a little levity, let's show some dogs at the polls yesterday. Courtesy of the Easton Courier, I think we're pulling up those photos right now, according to our director. But we do have a few examples of some dogs out in Easton at their polling places, and even our own candidate, Corgi Rubio, who is kind of our oh, here we go, hanging out at the polls, being patriotic. And do we have Corgi Rubio? It's that's all right if we don't. Wait, we got her. This is Josh Fisher. His dog is running for office, so be sure to elect her next time around. All right, let's throw it over to Frank Granito for a final look at the forecast.
Thank you, Kate. Again, mostly cloudy today with a brief shower passing through the county this morning, a high of 60 degrees, and showers expected to come back this afternoon. They'll roll around through the late evening, but mostly clear overnight. Temperatures dropping down into the mid-30s before Thursday morning. Plenty of sunshine on Thursday, and temperatures should warm back up into the mid to high 50s as state playoffs continue to roll on. There'll be a light breeze in the afternoon and some cloud coverage, but those should clear up for clear skies tomorrow night. Temperatures down to the 40s. Friday should be a great day, sunshine all day long and comfortable temperatures in the low 60s. There'll be some high winds earlier in the day, but we should see those die down. Before kickoff on Friday night, we've got 6 football games around the FCIAC being played, including our game of the week from Tiger Hollow. It's a playoff playing game between Greenwich and Ridgefield. That's our last weather update. Back over to Kate.
All right, thanks so much, Frank. Still a busy day on the HAN network. CT polls coming up at 12:30. Myself and Josh Fisher will be breaking down all those Connecticut election results, so don't miss it. And of course, Nutmeg Sports at 2 o'clock with Frank and Kevin Coleman. We're going to wrap things up here on your coffee break, but we'll see you tomorrow at 11. Have a great day.